Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Distingués invités, mesdames et messieurs, en vos différents titres, rangs et fonctions, s'il vous plaît, veuillez bien regagner vos sièges. Ladies and gentlemen, please do regain your seats. Thank you. I am Patience Salango of the General Secretariat. And as a prelude to the session this morning, I'd like to call upon all of us to rise for the national anthems of the Republic of Kenya.
Mungu nguvu yetu, ilete baraka kwetu, haki ngao na mlinzi, na tukae na udugu, amani na uhuru, na tupate na ustawi. Twaomba uilinde Jumuiya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Thank you. Can you all sit down? Merci. Distingués invités, mesdames et messieurs, une fois de plus en vos différents titres, rangs et fonctions, I'd like to call on Dr. Joseph Atick, Executive Chairman, ID for Africa, to deliver the State of the ID for Africa Movement address. Doctor.
Good morning, esteemed ladies and gentlemen. Before I start, I'd like to make a small announcement about the change in the program. Due to a state emergency, His Excellency, President Ruto, has sent his sincere apologies and assured us he will be with us tomorrow to deliver a special keynote address. But we will proceed with the program as follows. So we're extending the networking break by half an hour this morning after we finish the segment, which is the plenary session 0. And then instead tomorrow, after part 1 of the plenary session 3, which means at 10:15, His Excellency, the President, will speak. So more networking this morning and a little less networking tomorrow. So I hope that will be okay with all of you. We have to understand that we live in a dynamic world. Okay, in starting, I would like to thank the government of Kenya for hosting this year's event and the Kenyan people for their warm hospitality. As the Executive Chairman of ID for Africa, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the 2023 ID for Africa Augmented General Meeting, or AGM. I'm truly honored to kick off this important gathering, which brings together an impressive array of stakeholders from Africa and around the world, with record-breaking attendance in all categories. This remarkable turnout highlights the significant global demand for digital identity. As our lives increasingly move online, authenticating ourselves digitally is becoming crucial for accessing essential services, participating in economic activities, and exercising our rights and liberties. Unfortunately, far too many Africans still lack legal or digital identity. That is why the work of ID for Africa and this AGM are so important. Since its inception in 2014, the movement has led the way in promoting responsible adoption of digital identity for the benefit of humanity. By uniting governments, development partners, solution providers, and civil society organizations, ID for Africa is building consensus on inclusive, secure, and respectful digital identity that prioritizes the needs and rights of people. Before sharing the expected outcomes from this year's AGM, let me take a few moments to update you on the state of our ID4D movement. Following our examination of identity development through the lens of digital transformation in Morocco last year, demand for digital identity continued to accelerate across all economies. So much so that in many regions, digital identity is becoming indispensable, just like a social infrastructure. In response, we have adopted digital identity as public infrastructure as the theme for this year's AGM. Before I explain the implications of this choice, I'd like to share how the ID for Africa community has evolved in response to the very same forces that dictated this theme. ID for Africa experienced unprecedented growth in the past year. Our community expanded in size in 1 year more than it did in the previous 4 years combined. This growth has been driven not only by a deepening engagement with existing stakeholders, but also by a broadening of our core constituency. We welcomed new individuals from ICT, telecom regulators, data protection authorities, and civil society organizations, sectors that bring complementary competencies to our core actors, the Ministries of Home Affairs, identity and civil registration authorities. Additionally, we have seen increased participation from central banks, ministries of finance, social protection, and health, who join immigration and elections as major users of identity. We are pleased that all sectors are well represented in this year's AGM. Look at the statistics, percentages. The broadening of our community and the expansion in identity use are a direct consequence of the ongoing digitalization of government and society. It is leading to the realization of the slogan, identity concerns all and is for all. But beyond the slogans, this evolution uncovers a new structural challenge. Luckily, our community is no stranger to challenge. Back in 2018, at the assembly in Abuja, Nigeria, I highlighted that vendor and technology lock-in were the #1 challenge to the ID4D agenda. The community responded with open standards and open source solutions. Today, I stand before the assembly again to declare a new challenge: collaboration. How can we bring different stakeholders to work together towards shared goals and build shared assets. This will require breaking down institutional cultures and silos. Though challenging, I'm optimistic that with the strong political will from the top and the right frameworks, we will break down the silos that separate sectors, organizations, and people. We will learn to co-act, co-work, co-develop, and co-produce. Essentially, we will learn to collaborate. This is where ID for Africa comes in. We may not set standards, we may not implement solutions or certify systems, but we have the convening power to bring the community together to collaboratively address challenges encountered on the road to identity for all. Through our platforms, the AGM, the Ambassadors Bureau, and the livecasts, we disseminate validated findings to help our stakeholders reinforce their strategic decision-making capacities. Speaking of livecasts, this virtual meeting platform, born during the COVID lockdown, was institutionalized shortly thereafter, when we recognized that in the fast-paced digital world, it is no longer sufficient to meet once a year at the AGMs. In addition to being a year-round collaboration tool, the livecasts give Africa an ongoing voice in the global identity agenda. They help us assemble and grow the ID4D brain trust, and they democratize access to trustworthy knowledge. We are grateful to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation for believing in this vision and for supporting it. The Global ID4D Brain Trust collaborates with me to curate and synthesize the vast amounts of information generated around the world to provide timely, reliable, and unbiased insights that our community can utilize as digital public goods, available for all, freely accessible. Today, the livecasts foster dialogue that shapes the physical meeting agenda and paves the way for more impactful AGMs, as you will see this year. While no virtual medium can fully replace the physical experience, the livecasts help us nurture ongoing dialogue, and they keep us ahead of the curve in this rapidly evolving field. I hope my opening remarks provide you with a better appreciation for the special context in which we convene this year's AGM. Our engagement has become deeper and broader, with an increasingly urgent need for action and a shared commitment to better coordination among the stakeholders. We're also convening this AGM at the dawn of what could be the most disruptive development in human history: the artificial intelligence revolution, whose consequences to identity management can no longer be ignored. In fact, AI is already showing up in several of our AGM sessions, as you will see. Without a doubt, ladies and gentlemen, this is a pivotal moment to begin the next phase of our journey together. Before I will delve into how the program aligns with our community's current objectives, I'd like to reiterate quickly our call to action to designate 16 September as the National Day of Identity. We strongly urge governments and policymakers to issue decrees or pass laws to adopt that day. Let us seize this opportunity to demonstrate our commitment to inclusive legal identity in line with Sustainable Development Goal 16.9, as well as to safeguarding privacy and to empowering people through digital identity. Let us not hesitate to recognize this significant day. I like to salute the latest country to officially recognize Identity Day. Niger, which passed a decree about a month ago. I had the honor to be the recipient of the decree from the very hands of the Prime Minister of Niger on behalf of the President. And of course, the Niger delegation is here with the President, with the Minister of Interior and other ministers. So we salute you for that initiative. We also salute Namibia for having ratified Identity Day. We also salute Nigeria, who started this whole recognition by being the first country to recognize 16 September. I call upon Kenya, I call upon every country here to recognize 16 September as Identity Day. I also like to acknowledge the esteemed members of the Ambassadors Bureau, class of 2023. Each of the 48 member countries of ID for Africa can designate an ambassador and a deputy. In their ensemble, these brave men and women provide governance for the movement, ensuring it's responsive to their country's needs and that their countries are well represented through the official delegations that ID for Africa sponsors to attend the AGM. Over the next 3 days, we will have the opportunity to learn about best practices and latest innovations, and to hear the experiences and insights of field practitioners from around the continent and beyond. Together, we will explore the challenges as well as the opportunities around digital identity as public infrastructure. And perhaps most importantly, we will continue to build partnerships and collaborations that will help us advance the responsible adoption of digital identity in Africa. We start this morning with a scene-setting keynote, followed by a policy panel, then a series of presentations and a panel discussion by identity authorities' director generals on their identity verification implementations. In the afternoon, we focus on identity use in sectors like social protection, financial inclusion, G2P, and health. The day concludes with insights on digital identity verification in the US and Europe, highlighting federation, decentralization, and digital wallets, frameworks that soon will be needed within the ID for D agenda, especially for interoperability of trust, called for by regional and continental integration schemes. By the end of today, we will have explored various identity verification options, including certain decentralized schemes that give individuals more control over their data without undermining sovereignty, government sovereignty, or its role in issuing credentials centrally. Tomorrow begins with the Technology Symposium featuring 10 top identity solution providers who will share innovations and real-world insights. Of course, we will also have the keynote from His Excellency President Ruto. We will even learn how artificial intelligence is already impacting identity management. In the afternoon, we delve into enhancing inclusion, user experience, digital public stacks, interoperability, and collaboration. The location of ID for Africa 2024 AGM will also be unveiled. On day 3, we have 4 workshops. Workshop 1 covers how the how of DPIs in more detail. Workshop 2 covers the what of public policy and legal frameworks. Workshop 3 focuses on privacy and data protection issues. And workshop 3 covers something completely actionable. So workshop 4 focuses on privacy and data protection issues, while workshop 3 covers something completely actionable. I switched the order for a reason. Workshop 3 marks the launch of an important initiative that ID for Africa has been collaborating with our Ambassadors Bureau and the development partners. It's called the African eCRVS Shared Asset, or AXA. We believe that a comprehensive national digital identity cannot be achieved without integrated digitalized civil registration. The virtual portion of the AGM will continue on June 7 and 21st. Let me take a moment to recognize the part of our esteemed brain trust that is with us physically. This includes the AGM program speakers. Additionally, we have hundreds of experts in the networking and expo zone who are available to help you with your problems and needs. This zone is a place to seek advice and practical knowledge from credible experts on duty. They will be on duty. We have included an index of primary expertise on the back of the expo map. So please check it out. Please ask for the expo map to help you locate them. We believe in the zone, conversation seeds collaboration. Finally, I wish to thank everyone who added value to this year's AGM. I regret not being able to name everyone by name due to lack of time, but please be assured of my heartfelt appreciation for your contributions. I also like to thank you, the attendees, who come with enthusiasm, ready to take part of this exciting experience, which we call the ID for Africa AGM. So, let us begin this AGM with a sense of optimism and determination. Let us work together across borders and sectors to figure out the best practices and pathways for building digital identity that's inclusive, secure, and respectful. And let us remember that what we do here has the power to transform lives and to build better future for all. Thank you for listening. I now have the honor to call upon the Principal Secretary, Ambassador Bitok, Julius Bitok, who I had the honor to also work with him in the planning for a while, and who I respect and became an esteemed friend, who will deliver the host country's welcome address. Thank you. Thank you.
The Executive Chairman, ID for Africa,
Président exécutif ID for Africa,
the government ministers present,
les ministres du
deputy
gouvernement
ministers,
kenyans ici présents, les
principal
adjoints des
secretaries,
ministres,
permanent secretaries,
les secrétaires permanents,
senior government officials,
les fonctionnaires publics du cadre supérieur,
ambassadors,
excellences
high
ambassadeurs,
commissioners,
excellences hauts commissaires,
development partners,
partenaires
elected
de développement,
leaders,
leaders,
exhibitors, representatives from the private sector,
représentants du secteur privé,
distinguished participants,
participants distingués,
ladies and gentlemen,
les
good
dames et
morning.
messieurs, bonjour.
On behalf of the Kenya government,
Au nom du
I
gouvernement du
take this
Kenya,
opportunity to welcome
j'aimerais
you
saisir cette occasion
to
pour
the
vous
7th
souhaiter la
edition
bienvenue à
of
la
ID
7e édition
for Africa
de
Conference
la
here in
conférence
Nairobi.
de l'ID
And
for
by
Africa
extension,
ici à Nairobi.
welcome to Kenya.
Et par extension,
In
je
Kenya, we
voudrais
say,
vous souhaiter la
Karibu,
bienvenue
Kenya.
au Kenya.
You're most
Au Kenya,
welcome.
on dit en Swahili, Karibu
Our
Kenya.
country
Notre
is famed
pays
for its
est
magnificent
connu
safaris.
de ses safaris
So,
bien connus.
beyond your concentration on this conference,
Et donc, au-delà
we hope that
des
you'll find
assises de cette
time
conférence, de ce
to
programme,
sample
mais du temps
the rich tourist sites
donc
that our beloved country offers.
voyager au Kenya.
This is a country
Voir les
that has
sites
very
touristiques.
beautiful
Notre pays
tourist
est
sites. So
très
beyond
beau.
just
Il y a de très
enjoying
bons
yourself
sites
in this
touristiques.
conference,
Et donc,
learning
on
about digital
profite
identity,
de cette conférence
I welcome you
d'identité numérique.
to sample and tour
J'aimerais vous
some of our
souhaiter
beautiful
ou vous
tourist
inviter
sites.
à visiter
We are
les
honored
sites
here
touristiques du Kenya.
that the ID for Africa Secretariat was able to settle on Kenya. And this actually is a gesture that you have confidence in our country and that really we have the capacity to be able to host this kind of conference. Our special thanks also goes to the participants for committing time and your resources to be able to attend this very important conference. Karibu tena. There is wisdom in peer reviews and the necessity of African countries gathering here to reflect on similar experiences, challenges, and opportunities around digital identity. These forums also provide opportunities to weigh on social economic opportunities presented by technology and investment in identity systems. Indeed, Africa stands to reap immense benefits from more and not less of cross-border movements of its inhabitants. Credible and friendly identity systems are known to facilitate easier regional and international movement. As a government, we are committed to support this event and to ensure that the shared objectives, where possible, and to embrace useful ideas out of this conference. As we may all be aware, we believe that this is a golden opportunity to ensure that we peer review, we learn from each other, we share experiences, we share some of the best solutions on digital identity. This conference, to us as Kenya government, comes at the right time because we are transitioning from second generation ID to third generation ID, which is actually national digital identity, which in Kenya we call unique personal identifier. And we are saying this is really a golden opportunity to get to learn from some of the top exhibitors, to be able to get information from some of the leading countries who have been able to roll out national digital identity. So as we look at, as we converge here and discuss some of the best solutions that we can have, Kenya is very keen to be able to add more to what we already have on national digital identity, or rather what, unique personal identifier. This conference is also happening at a very important time because the UPI is intended to give a unique number to a newborn that runs from the day they are born through their lifetime. This is the number which they will use in primary school, they'll use it in secondary school, they use it in the university, they use it in as their ID number, they use it for as their number when they are going to work, as their security number, as the NHIF number, the number that runs across their life. So we find this conference really very timely. As we reflect on UPI, I want to say that we are really keen to recognize 16th of September as a UPI day, a day when the government of Kenya will be able to roll out some of the activities to support this process. Digital identity is really very critical because it's the critical infrastructure, just like any other infrastructure, just like superhighways, just like electricity power lines, that really facilitates economic or rather social economic transformation. And to us in Kenya, we believe that getting it right on digital identity really will open many, many opportunities. And as we speak today, the government of Kenya is really focusing on ensuring that 5,000 of its services are offered on digital platform. And to ensure that those services are seamless, a reliable, secure digital identity is required as a railroad for the 5,000 e-services by the government of Kenya. Ladies and gentlemen, this forum really is the cornerstone of social economic transformation. This is where the private sector come in to ensure that ideas about know your customer, electronic knowing your customer, credible databases, efficiency in service delivery, enhancement in revenue collection is brought together. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we embark on this conference, I want to make a commitment that the government of Kenya is committed to ensuring that the ideals, the objectives, the common interests as presented by the executive chairman of ID Africa are actualized, and that we are able to ensure that we have a united Africa, united by digital identity. I think that is very, very important. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, as I wind up my few remarks, to recognize the Kenyan committee that helped us put together this conference. Allow me to request the team led by Wanjao, who have been here for a long time, to stand up, and we can give them an applause. Karibu Wanjao with your team. We can stand up. Thank you very much. This is a team that have worked tirelessly with ID for Africa. Let's get seated. With ID for Africa Secretariat, led by the executive chairman, to ensure that this event is a success. Allow me to reinforce what the executive chairman said. His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, Honorable Dr. William Ruto, has informed us that tomorrow at 10 o'clock, he will be here to join us to give a keynote speech on this very important conference. Thank you very much for listening to me, and have a wonderful time here in Kenya. Okay, welcome, MC.
Thank you, Ambassador Professor Julius Bitok, Principal Secretary, State Department for Citizen Services, Ministry of Interior, National Administration, the Republic of Kenya. Thank you, sir. And we underscore that we can look forward to September 16 being recognized here in the Republic of Kenya. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, we call on you all to kindly remember to network. This is the moment. It's time to network. It's time to visit those stands out there. So, Dr. Atick and all the outstanding and distinguished ladies and gentlemen here present will do us the honors. Doctor, thank you. Remember to network. Ladies and gentlemen, remember to keep your headsets for interpretation on your seats, and when you come back, because you have to be back by 10:30 exactly for the sessions, make sure you drop your headsets on your seats, and then when you come back, we will be willing to start. 10:30, thank you.